I'm going to have to adjust this because I'm only a shorty. What hope have I got after all that, quite frankly? I think the speakers prior to me have been absolutely magnificent. Don't you agree? Greetings and solidarity from the PCS South West Regional Committee. I'm also privileged to be the President of the Cheltenham District Trades Council as well, so solidarity from them as well. It gives me great pleasure to speak to you today. I'm representing civil servants from right across the whole of the county, from job centres, courts, Revenue and Customs, Land Registry, even GCHQ. It's magnificent to see so many people here. Not only comrades from NUT, UCU and ATL who all took action back on June the 30th, but also people from Unison and GMB, and welcome to the fight. Obviously today is about pensions, but everybody here obviously believes in genuinely good public services and in fair pay. Do we want a society that panders to the interests and the economy of the top 1% in society? I don't think so, do you? When I became a civil servant 20-ish years ago, I did so committed to public service, but I knew I wasn't going to get paid a king's ransom. And despite the fact that I've been working there as many years as I have, and I've gone up the pay scales, and I've had a couple of promotions along the way, I still earn less than the national average in this country. But you know what? I was always told I'd have a decent pension. Not a gold-plated pension, a decent pension. And now I'm told that actually the fact that they didn't increase my salary as much as they promised because I was going to get a decent pension was all a load of hokum, quite frankly. I know a lot of PCS members, they tend to work within the civil service in the lower and middle grades. The average civil service pension is just £4,200 a year. That's £80 a week. If you add that to the state pension of £102, that's a weekly total of just £182. The government tells us that the poverty line for pensions is 178. That's just £4 more. The changes alone in the indexing from RPI to CPI means that our members will be driven into claiming benefits. It will affect the amount of money that is being paid by the government. I've got a huge long list of things I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about, equality of pay, public and private sector, and I was also going to talk about, it shouldn't be equality of pay for everybody. But the preceding speakers have obviously all touched on that. So I'm going to just conclude very much in saying that there is an alternative, he says quickly, flicking through his notes. This government cuts welfare whilst giving tax breaks to big businesses. It freezes public sector pay whilst allowing publicly owned banks to get away with £millions bonuses for its bankers. It allows the same publicly owned banks to give tax avoidance advice to big business and super rich people, whilst sacking Revenue and Customs officers on a weekly basis. In the last quarter alone, 8,000 civil servants in the HMRC have lost their jobs. The austerity programmes in Greece and Italy aren't working. They won't work here. Cutting jobs, paying pensions doesn't save money in the long run. It creates poverty, misery, and destroys the economy. Austerity has given us lower growth, higher unemployment, and rising inequality and poverty. But there is an alternative. Let's tackle the £120 billion tax gap. Let's invest in public services. Let's build council housing. Let's invest in renewable energy. And let's also invest in public transport and create jobs. This government has the cheek to question the support for today's action. Nearly 30 unions all balloted and had a majority in favour of strike action. Yet only 23.5% of the UK electorate voted for the Tories. This coalition government is weak. We can defeat it. PCS, like every other union, is attending every meeting with this government to negotiate on pensions. But PCS will not accept that we must pay more and work longer for worse pensions when our pensions are both affordable and sustainable. On the 2nd of November, Danny Alexander offered some changes to those within 10 years of retirement and improved the rate at which your pension accrues. Why? Because 25 unions had already balloted for industrial action today. But even this means everyone will be paying more for less and some for up to 8 years longer. Today, millions of people, millions of public sector workers are on strike, and we're supported by pensioners, students, carers and private sector workers. We will be back to the negotiating table in the next coming few weeks. If you don't make significant improvements, the government, we will be on strike again. PCS is calling on all of your unions to discuss further action. We will continue to the fight against privatisation, job cuts and low pay. Unlike my colleague who spoke earlier, I don't see this as a climax. I see this as a step, because I don't think that Mr Cameron's going to be listening today, but we have to make him listen. We have to make him realise that we won't go away. I believe together we can win. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Zoe from PCS.